What is willpower, and more importantly, why do you never seem to have enough of it? What's up guys, I'm Shoma, and in this video I want to show you guys exactly how this obnoxiously loud piece of chocolate can help you master your willpower today. Willpower is a very tricky subject because on one hand, there is a lot of information about it. On the other hand, it all really just boils down to two main principles. But before I reveal these main principles, I want to define what willpower is, at least the way I see it, the way I conceptualize it. So, willpower, as I define it, is the ability to do tasks that you wouldn't otherwise want to do. It is a currency that your brain uses to essentially force itself to do tasks that it has built up a little bit of resistance to. So things like doing your chores or doing your work or whatever it is that you really just do not want to do, that you have to just absolutely pummel yourself, just force yourself to get those things done. So, with the definition out of the way, principle number one is eliminate things that cost willpower. So, principle number one is the traditional way of increasing your willpower. It is eliminating things that distract you, that drain your willpower passively. You can think of it, willpower, again, as a currency. So, say if you have a 100 willpower and you spend 50 of it, well, then you have half of your willpower left. Let me give you guys two quick examples to help you guys solidify this. So, number one, say you're trying to diet. Dieting is very, very hard when there is a whole bunch of chips and junk food and chocolate around, right? Because, say you're in your cabinet and you see chips, you're probably going to take those chips, open it, and eat it, and that's not going to be very good for your diet. Now, say instead of those chips, you open up your cupboard and you find almonds, or you open up your fridge and you find salad. Well, suddenly things have started to become a lot more healthy, and you don't need to exert willpower on not eating the potato chips, and instead you're just going to have the almonds, you're just going to have the salad. So the second example is, say you're studying. If your desk is super, super cluttered, well, then you're probably going to be distracted by all the little funny things in your desk. The way I like to study and the way I actually like to edit is anything that is non-essential to the task at hand gets eliminated from my desk. So my desk is usually completely clear except, my hard drives, my computer, or scrap paper or textbooks. So that was principle number one. Principle number two is to make things cost as few willpower points as you possibly can. So this is where our lovely bit of chocolate comes in handy. So going back to the first example and the last principle, say you're trying to diet and you have a piece of Toblerone on your desk. Now, that piece of Toblerone, every time you see it, is gonna cost you willpower. However, willpower is like a muscle. You can train it. So every time you see that Toblerone, it'll cost you willpower, but it'll cost you less every time you see it and you successfully resist it. So say the first time it costs you 10 willpower. And then the second time it costs you 9, and then 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, until it costs 0 willpower to actually resist it, because you've trained your brain, you've trained it like a muscle so that it goes and sees the chocolate and goes, you know what? I've resisted this, I don't want to have this, so I'm not even going to bother trying to get the body to eat it. And that is the essence of it. The essence that you can train your willpower. And the nice thing is if you train it in one area, you can actually increase your willpower in other areas. So say you have a piece of Toblerone on your desk and you keep resisting it. Well, now your brain and your willpower has clicked into that phase of, I can't actually tempt the body to do things. So the next time you say you have to do a chore, say you have to take out the trash, you're not even going to think about like, I can't or I shouldn't. And instead, you're just going to do it. It's not going to cost any willpower. And then in that sense, you kind of build up a momentum of willpower, and you're building up the strength of your willpower. So say you've taken out the trash, now when you sit down to do your homework, it suddenly doesn't actually cost any willpower to do it. So then I've actually built up a morning routine regiment around building willpower. Now I know you're rolling your eyes because morning routines, blah, 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 blah. But just hear me out, and you don't actually have to do these things, but I want you to do things similar to it to tempt yourself, to train your willpower, to then have more of it to spend on tasks that actually cost a lot of willpower. So, my morning routine, when I first wake up, the first thing I do is I get out of bed. So, my alarm goes off, I get out of bed. The next thing I do after I've gotten out of bed is I make it. I make my bed. This is a hard thing to do in the morning. But after I've made my bed, the next task is going to be a lot easier, and the next task is really hard. It's essentially like curling like a 50-pounder, is taking cold showers. And I know everyone is saying take cold showers, but cold showers, they're terrible. They're awful. They're just the worst thing. But they're fantastic for willpower. So take it as you may. And then the final thing that I do is I do a bit of meditating. Meditation is fantastic for your willpower because you're essentially forcing yourself to be bored. Now, no, principle number one can contradict principle number two, but it's an intentional contradiction. So don't buy potato chips if you're not planning on raising your willpower with potato chips. Don't buy chocolate if you're not planning on raising your willpower with chocolate. Instead, I was just doing my quick little morning routine. It really only takes like an extra 15 minutes at most, and most of that is just the meditation. And that is it for the video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned something just a little bit new. And if you did, like and subscribe for more of these videos. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next one.